Welcome to the Louie Herron Podcast, where I'm going deep into business, sales, leadership, and life. And I mean life, from the boardroom to the bedroom, from business acquisitions to personal addictions, from being saved yet still feeling like a slave, from manning up to mousing out, dealing with divinity to reality. This podcast is dedicated to growth, learning, inspiration, and healing. Jump in, hang on, and hang out. You'll never know which topic I'll tackle next. But one thing's for certain, I'm here to share my experiences, strengths, failures, and hope, all to help us live life at the highest level we can. What's up, guys? What's up? What's up, man? So glad you're in. Come on in and join me. Join me today. Louie Herron Podcast. I'm your host, Louie Herron. I appreciate everybody that's logging in, coming in, whether it's from Spotify, iTunes, Libsyn, you name it, wherever the sources you're hearing this podcast. I want to tell you right up front, I'm so grateful that you take the time. Time is valuable. Time is absolutely valuable. And to spend 15, 18 minutes with me to maybe catch a nugget or two as it relates to your leadership, your business, sales, or life's lessons is it's an honor. So hopefully today I'll bring you something that not only inspires, educates, and encourages behaviors that we're looking for. We're talking about business today. And quite frankly, we're talking about a blueprint for a successful business. So this is across the board, right? These are some things. I've got 10 things I jotted down that I think is a focal point. I want to break down one of those in particular. And then I'll close this thing and land this plane with some of the mistakes that I've made running businesses over the years. I think there are some phenomenal teachers that give you some great information from when they succeeded, but there are also some great teachers that can share with you the moments that they haven't done so well. So remember, you can't make a difference until you make a decision, right? If you own the company, if you're running your business, if you are the operations general manager, comptroller, if you are a sales professional, you are still operating your business or the business. And it's important that we always identify that we can't make a difference until we make a decision. So a lot of times we've got to make choices. We've got to make decisions that affect our business in a lot of different ways. They affect people, they affect us, they affect cash flow. There's a lot of different variables going on in business on a daily basis. And to those that have never run a business or have never been an operations or general manager of a business, I promise you, if you sit in their shoes, there is a lot of spinning plates. There's a lot of things that have to be kept under wraps, under control to keep the train on the track. So with all that being said, let's talk about a blueprint. So when you think about a blueprint, right, we're talking about, you think about a blueprint for a house. Before we construct this house, before we construct this business, we've got to make sure everything from an engineer perspective, everything is literally perfect. But so many times we buy an existing business or we take over an existing business, or maybe we start one from scratch. And again, you could be some entrepreneurs out there that's a one-man band. And I can tell you that's a tough road to plow. But again, if you have the right blueprint, I still believe you can be extremely, extremely successful with patience. Keep planting seeds. Remember, we grow what we sow. So we've got to continually sow those seeds, man. Big business, small business, doesn't matter. 2 employees, 200 employees, we grow what we sow. We got to sow a lot of different things: attitude, mindset, habits, culture, processes. I mean, there's a ton of things that we have to work on. And it's a big boy game. It's not for the faint at heart to operate, run any business, or even be involved in business, especially when it's on a commissional basis where you've got to really rock and roll to make things happen. So let's talk about the blueprint. So the thing that I think about the most right off the rip, and really this is kind of in an order to a certain degree, but don't get caught up with the order. Get caught up with these 10 things that I think you really need to make sure that you dot your I's, cross your T's, and that you're focused on. First thing is vision. Where in the world are the people going? Where are your people going? I can speak only to the business that I know very well, which is the automotive space. And I can tell you from personal experience that when I went into any operation, whether I purchased a dealership or whether I went in to run somebody's existing dealership, whether I took over a dealership that was struggling, the very first thing I did in every single scenario was put together a vision meeting. And prior to putting that vision meeting together, I get with my management staff first and get some clarity on what their thoughts are, enroll them, incorporate them in this vision. Once I got that, I put this presentation together, brought everybody to the Marriott Hotel, 6:30 in the morning. And again, we're talking technicians, salespeople, accounting office, everybody counts, everybody matters. Everybody's got to know the vision. And we broke bread together, had breakfast, and then we put on a presentation. And the presentation had a couple of different specific agendas. One was to educate where we were going, what direction were we heading, why we were going that direction, and most importantly, the direction will never get facilitated if I didn't have them. So again, enrolling my people and letting them know that anything I put on a presentation or a PowerPoint means zero if they don't feel included, involved, and are clear, crystal of where we're going and what we have to do. From that point, it gets broken down from department heads to facilitate the next 90 days, the next 6 months, the next 9 months, and then into 12 months, right? Q1, 2, 3, and 4, we monitored those and we held those pieces accountable. So setting a vision, again, I could do a whole podcast on how to execute that whole meeting because there's a lot that goes into that. And quite frankly, when I put those meetings together, yes, I wanted to paint the picture. Yes, I wanted to make sure they knew where we were heading. Yes, I wanted to understand the inventories, how many stalls we had, what the advertising and marketing was going to look like, what the goal was, what the unique selling proposition was, all those things. But really and truly, I had one major agenda, and that was to inspire and motivate and educate my people to want to be on this team and getting on the boat, everybody grabbing an oar, and everybody rowing in the right direction. So again, blueprint, success, business. Number one, got to have a vision. Got to have a vision. Number two, once you set the vision, once you get things rolling, your company, or even you as an individual salesperson, because you're still a company within a company, you got to have a value proposition, a unique selling proposition. You got to have something that's unique to the marketplace that you can do that's affordable to be able to sell your products and services. Right. So again, it's very important. Again, I don't know what business you're operating. I can only speak from the automotive side, but whatever business you're operating, it's vital to come up with a value proposition. It's super, super important because when people are shopping, they don't know you. They don't know who you are. All you are is another business that sells another product that they probably can shop 3, 4 other competitors. So they're going to look at the proposition, the warranties, the add-ons, the things they get in addition to. These are very, very important. If you're operating a business and you do not have a value proposition, you're behind the 8 ball. And I encourage you to, if you don't, what a great time to sit down and say, hey, let's put that together. Because the very next thing, number 3, is marketing and advertising. So again, to be able to market, promote, and advertise, there has to be something to market, promote, and advertise. And one of the strongest things you can do is have a value proposition within your organization of the products and services you sell. If you don't have that, what your marketing dollars and ad dollars are going to go to is very generic, very vanilla, same old cookie cutter stuff that everybody does. So you may have an agency that helps you coordinate mail and TV and OTP, live streaming, all those things. You may have all that stuff. But again, if you're not clear on what you want the message to be, you're going to be held hostage to whatever the agency recommends and tells you, right? And I think agencies are fantastic as it relates to defining market areas, PMA, DMA, understanding, particular units in operation, depending on what business you're in. I think there's much value in having an agency. But as the operator or even an individual that's selling a product, you still have to have a value proposition. And I believe you still need to market and advertise. Again, that's a whole other thing if you're in the sales game, if you're a sales rep, right? But you still should be marketing and advertising. And you should still have your own unique value proposition. Okay, knockdown 3, here's number 4. We got to have customer acquisition, right? So we acquire these customers. And obviously they're entered into the CRM or whatever management tool you're using to retain the customers in the systems, because that leads to the next one, which is customer retention. Listen, once we get a customer, you know how hard you've worked to acquire that customer. Now that we've got them, that should be a customer for life, which means there's got to be several touch points between the time they purchase and potentially the next time they fill another order or buy something else. All right. So again, customer retention. We're talking about a blueprint of a business to be successful. You set the vision, a value proposition, you get to marketing, you get to advertising, you acquire the guests, and then you got to retain the guests. Okay, retain the guests. Number 6, operational efficiencies. Now, I don't know what your operation looks like, how it runs, but if you look at your departments, I just want you to ask yourself the question, how efficient are you? Is there fat on the operation? Is there duplication in the operation? Is there ways to streamline the operation? Again, speed, speed, speed. Efficiency is the name of the game. People, the consumers, obviously, we all know this in today's day and age. I am one of them. I want it now. I want it fast. I don't want to stand around. I don't want to wait around. The quicker, the better. The more I'm going to be more apt to do something with somebody to make a decision. So your operational efficiency. Number 7, we're going to talk about hiring and recruiting. Listen, always be hiring and recruiting. And I know you may say, well, man, I got nowhere to put him on the field. And my thing is, look, if he's an athlete, you'll find a spot for him on the field. Always get the best of the best of the best. Why? Number 1, it gives the health of the organization. It challenges everybody else when there's more talent around everybody. Everyone rises, right? You're pushing people, right? But you can't make a duck an eagle. So if you got some ducks that work for you and you're looking for eagles, you got to go get you some eagles, man. You can't win a Kentucky Derby with Shetland ponies. You got to have thoroughbreds. You got to have horses, man, with big old strong muscles that can run that race. So you always look to hire and recruit the best possible people, which leads me to the next one, which is your leadership and your team. The leadership piece, again, the Louie Herron Podcast, leadership, business, sales, life's lessons, leadership. Listen, it's like operating a football team. It's like owning a franchise. Business is no different than sports. At least that's the way I look at it. And when you're running a team, you got to have the right leadership, the right general manager, right? The guy that's calling the shots, the right head coach. Who's the head coach? Who's your offense coordinator? Who's your defensive coordinator? What about the squad? What about the team? These are the pieces. Again, we're talking about a blueprint for successful business. We've got to always be hiring and recruiting. We always got to be working on leadership in our team. How do you work on leadership in your team, guys? It's training, coaching, teaching, influencing from the top to the bottom. Outside vendors, whatever it takes. Seminars, courses, always grow your people, right? Grow your people. What you grow, we got to sow, right? So you got to put some time and effort into these people. You got to love on these people. When you got superstars, you want to make them phenomenal superstars, right? Okay, last 2. And really there was a few more, but I wanted to keep it short with you. And I'm going to recap it for you as well. But the last 2 is number 9 is execution. When we put a play together, we want to run the play. We want to run a 36 dive. We want to run a 63 XY, motion out. I don't care what the play is. When we call the play, we want to run the damn play. We want to execute the play. In your business, you have a certain process, a certain play that's got to be run, and everybody knows what the play is. The problem is a lot of people allow others in the company not to run the damn play. So what happens? We fumble the ball. We throw an interception. And then we say, oops, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. My bad. Okay, cool. Once. Twice is the last time. We're operating a business dealing with consumers. We want to be flawless. We want to make sure that we are executing. What are they executing? If the team doesn't know what the play is, how can they execute? Again, we go right back up to the last one. Leadership and the team. Leadership, setting the foundation. What's the damn play? Think about your operation. Think about your business. Think about what you go through on a daily basis to get to the end result, which is the sale. All the steps that precede the sale and everything you do, just think about how much work and effort and where it started from, right? Through dollars out there to generate a lead. Lead comes in, somebody answers the lead. Someone answers the lead, sets an appointment. They set the appointment, the sales rep communicates. Once the sales rep communicates, they build trust in a relationship. Next thing you know, they go to showing a product and demonstrating what it offers and what it can do. And then eventually the customer wants to think about it. Now we got a follow-up system. Now we got people following up with these people that came in from a lead, that came in from marketing, that's trickling down this. Guys, it takes too much to sell a business, a product or service within your company and not execute. And I mean flawlessly. Again, go back to some of the greatest teams that ever played. Again, I'm a football guy, right? Whether it's Lombardi, and again, I'm a Dolphin guy, and I'm through and through. And I'm not talking about the Dolphins being great. They're coming up. It's been a horrible product. But what I am talking about was the New England Patriots, who I couldn't stand. But when you want to talk about Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, you want to talk about execution. So tell me what their practices look like. Tell me what Mr. Kraft and his leadership, who he put in place as his operations guy, his general manager, allowing Bill Belichick to do what he's got to do. Guys, I mean, people lie, numbers don't. Look at the numbers in the Patriots, how many years they were successful. And you can't tell me there was no execution in that game plan. A lot of execution. The last thing I want you to think about when we're talking about successful business, guys, when you do all these steps, you do them with everything you got. You got to make sure you have compliance. In today's day and age in business with HR, compliance, privacy laws, I mean, there data breaching, there's so much that we got to be careful on. And I will tell you from a business owner's perspective, that was one of the last things I would think about. I mean, I had it on my radar, but I was hopeful that my guys and gals would make it happen. The bottom line is one good lawsuit and it's done. One bad situation can crumble a whole company. So again, if you're leading it, don't leave that out. It's extremely, extremely important to make sure you're always being compliant and the best you can. I want to go back to just the one point that I think is important, and I'm going back to marketing and advertising. Okay, and the reason why I want to do that is because I don't want you to miss this. Okay, so again, if you take the etymology of the word marketing, it's the activity or business or promoting in selling products or services, the activity or business of promoting. A lot of businesses don't want to spend the money. They look at how much it costs per item sold. They're looking on ROI. Listen, all these indices and KPIs are important. I'm not saying they're not, okay? But I'm telling you, marketing is senior to sales. There's the age-old debate. Is marketing better than sales? Sales better than marketing? Look, the end result, you got to sell something. But marketing is senior to sales, right? The bottom line is if nobody knows what you have to offer, it's going nowhere. Let me give you an example. Let's say my job is to pass out $1,000 bills. I've got a stack of $1,000 bills and nobody knows I got them. No one knows. But I'm willing to give away $1,000. But no one knows that I've got to market that. How fast people be lined up once they know I got $1,000 bills to give out. And some of your businesses, it's like giving $1,000 bills. Some of the products and services you offer, some of the people and personnel you have at your place of business are so jam up, so tight, so good, and you know your product and service is that strong, it's like giving $1,000 bill to people. But yet, if no one knows about your product or service, they're not going to know. You can't give it away. So when you're talking about marketing, we're talking about getting attention, right? Attention and marketing are absolutely vital to target attainment, making sure that we're hitting the targets that we're looking for. Again, and I will tell you, some people, and I would say I was probably one of them. I'm interested in getting attention before I'm even ready to deliver. Why? I'm loading the till. I'm loading the pipeline up to make sure I've got traffic, leads, traffic. If I've got an abundance of that with trained people, the outcome is going to be sales. And I believe that frequency will always build trust. And when you look at that, you may say, well, look, frequency. If people see you market and advertise day in and day out, month in and month out, year in and year out, chances are good they will probably think you're doing pretty good. Your business is selling something because I see you everywhere. I mean, every time I turn on the TV, every time I turn on the radio, every time I see social media, every time, if you get that, trust me, the frequency is building and people are going to start to trust and begin that you have a product or service that is vital to what they want, right? So as I close this out, guys, I want to tell you really and truly the 5 mistakes that I can look back on. I was talking about teaching, right? Those are some things I think are some positive things that work for me that I think will work for you and your company, your business. Let's talk about 5 mistakes that I made. Number 1, I overcomplicated things, right? I was talking to you earlier about process. I was talking about process, execution. Man, my monkey mind puts so many damn processes together. Sometimes I overwhelm my people. So again, simple is better. Simple is better. Don't overcomplicate. I overcomplicated things at times and it made it like freaking a nightmare. The other thing that I made a mistake is I had the wrong goals, man, the wrong targets. My targets and goals were predicated on really and truly what I thought my paradigm looked like of what we could do in the auto industry. not necessarily what we were capable of doing, right? So my targets were lower than they should have been, and I was a pretty optimistic thinker. But looking back, my goals were wrong. The other thing that I looked at that I think I made a mistake on is I played small. I played small at times. I stayed small at times. I had a couple of small dealerships. I ran a couple of large ones. I'm talking 400 car month stores, but I owned some small ones, and it kept me small. In other words, I didn't think I had the same leverage. And logically, obviously, as a business operator, you've got to look in the old word realistic comes out, right? There's only so many people in your town, so many people in the community, blah, 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 right? I get all that. I get all that. But I always pose the question. I had a Chrysler dealership in Madison, Georgia, outside of Athens, Georgia. And when I took over the store, it was doing 25 cars a month. I got the store to about 100 cars a month. Pretty good gain, pretty good bump, doing a lot of things that we're discussing here today. And at the end of the day, that 100 to 150 mark, I was struggling to get there. But I can promise you, if you ask me today, is it possible for that little old store that could it have sold 150? The answer would be yes. And so if the answer is yes, that it's possible, then the issue lied within me because I was not the one I was staying too small, and I surrounded myself around small thinkers, bought into and subscribed to the thinking that wasn't going to expand, right? We talk about on this podcast expansion, right? Not contraction, but it's so easy sometimes when we put limited beliefs in our mind, right? And then all of a sudden we start to buy in and believe some of these things. And then you start to program your mind that it is what it is. And once you're in an establishment for a year or 2 or 3 years, you begin to think, this is all it's going to do. And it's not the case because somebody can come in behind you and elevate your business with a different attitude, looking at it with different lenses, through a different filter, with no preconceived notions, and make an impact. The last one is I avoided investing in my business. I pulled back. We were making some money. I should have put more money into marketing and advertising, generate more leads to hire and recruit more people to then sell more cars. I didn't look at it that way. When I look back, major mistake. Guys, listen, if you like the podcast, look, share it with some other people. Thank you for hanging on with me for 21 minutes and 45 seconds. I am out. Look, if you want any more content, if you want any help, any coaching, go to louieherron.com. Anybody in the automotive space, I've got courses. If you're not in the automotive space, I've got management courses at louieherron.com. Go to YouTube at Louie Herron TV. Tons of content that we upload all the time. And until next week on the Louie Herron Podcast, I look forward to seeing you guys then.